Okay, hi guys, and welcome to this YouTube channel. I really appreciate your comments so far. So, this question that is on our board today is with regards to OD effect that mentioned that we should do quadratic equation. So, and this question is a question we saw in NECO 2015. So, we are told to factorize this, and this is a quadratic equation. The question might be, how do we know that this is a question? This is a quadratic equation. Let me show you. So when we have a question that takes this form, which is x squared plus bx plus c, where x is the variable, a is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is our constant. So when we have this kind of equation, what do? We look for two numbers that, if added, will produce b. That is the coefficient of x. And then if multiplied will give us, or okay, I'll say that will produce the product of A and B and C. So we are looking for two numbers that if we add it up, right, we're having B. But if we multiply them, if we multiply those two numbers, it will be giving us the product of A and C. That is, if we multiply, let's assume that the two numbers are M and N. It is so that M plus N will be equals to B, right? Then M times N will be equals to equals to A times C. I believe you understand what I mean. So that let me equate it in this question. We are given n squared plus 24n minus 81. In this equation, n is our variable, right? Then the coefficient of n squared, we know it's already 1. We don't need to write it. The coefficient of n here is 24, and then 81 is our constant. So that, applying the rule I mentioned here for quadratic equation, we're looking for two numbers that when we multiply them, so when we add them together to give us 24, when we multiply to give us 1 times 81, and we know that 1 times minus 81 will still give us minus 81, right? So we're looking for two numbers that will give us plus 24 and minus 81. And those two numbers, let's look for the multiples of 81, which is, we have 3, we have 9, and we have 27. Because we know that 3 times 27 will give us 3 times 27 is equals to 81. 9 times 9 is equals to 81. But if you look at our question very well, when we manipulate these two numbers, we can get 24. 9 and 9 cannot give us 24. So let's go with these two numbers, 3 and 27. Mind you, I used the multiple of our, the factor of our 81. So we are looking at 3 and 24. So how can we manipulate 3 and 27 to give us 24? 3 and 27. What can we do to give us plus 24? So we know that this higher number should have a plus, right? Lower number should have a minus. So that minus 3 plus 27 will give us 24. That is plus 24. Then when we multiply minus, we know that minus times plus is equals to minus, right? So that minus times minus will give us minus. So minus times plus will give us minus. 3 times 27 will give us 81. Now you see we have gotten our plus 24 and our minus 81. So we're working with minus 3 and plus 27. So that n squared plus, let's work with the lower number, minus 3n. So you can start with any of the numbers though, plus 27n, right, minus 81. So that we can go back to the previous part. How to know that you're right in this quadratic equation is that you can go back to the previous stage, which is if you should say minus 3n plus 27 give us plus 24n, right? So you are still correct. So in this place now, let's get the factors of these numbers. Let's factorize this. So we have n bracket n. So that n times n will give us n squared. Then n times what will give us 3n will have 3. So that n times minus 3 will give us minus 3n. Then another number, how can we factorize this number? What can we bring out of this number? And when we multiply it to give us these two numbers. The same thing is 27 plus 27. Because 27 can multiply what will give us 81. And I still multiply what will give us 27n. So that 27 times n, 27 times n will give us 27 times n will give us 27n, right? Then 27 times what will give us minus 81, that is minus 3. That we now have n minus 3, n minus 3. 27 times n plus 27 times n will give us plus 27n. Plus 27 times minus 3 will give us minus 81. So in this case, we have our final answer. We factor this one out. We have n minus 3, n plus 27. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. God bless you.
Thank you for watching.